Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Localhost 3000. In today's video, we are going to deep dive into a fundamental topic that every React developer should have in their toolkit. We are going to take a close look at the use effect hook. Since we already know use effect is a incredibly powerful hook and it allows us to handle side effects and manage the life cycle of our components. But here is a thing, just because we can use it everywhere doesn't mean we should use it everywhere. You might have been involved in creating some of the applications in React, and you would have feel that your component is kind of unresponsive or like feeling sluggish. You might not have realized it, but your excessive use of use effect might be a contributing factor for that. Overusing this use effect hook can lead to unexpected performance issues that can slow down your applications. So, in this video, we are going to explore the situations where you might not need to use the use effect hook. So, let's get started.
चलो भाई देखो अब मैं क्या करता हूँ.
Going ahead, I have created a React application here, and to get a better understanding of the rendering part, I have removed the strict mode from here to avoid the automatic rendering automatic twice rendering of a particular component. So I have removed the strict mode from here. Okay, so I have this effect one component and I have two states here, input and square. So basically what I am doing here, so I am taking an input from user and I am calculating the square. So I have created a use effect here. So whenever the input will be changed, square will be computed here. So let's see the result here. So I have 11 and let's say I put 12 here. So it will render the square of 12 here, 144. So let's see how many times our component is rendering. So let's put a console.count here, render count. Let's save and get back here. And I have 12. Let's change it to 3, 123. And now as you can see, our component render for the two times. Let's change it for one more times, 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, as you can see, again two times. So whenever we are changing input here in the input state, our component is rendering two times. Why two times? So first, when the state will be changed here in the input, our JSX will be rendered for the very first time. And once it will be rendered, the callback function in the use pack will be called because our input has been changed. And once the this set square will be called, the second state will be changed. And once this square will be changed, it will again re-render the entire JSX here. So for this region, it's rendering for the two times. So now how we can avoid this situation to not run to we can have it for only one time. So what we can do, we can just remove this effect here, and we can also remove the state here. And instead of that, we can what we can do, we can say we can create a function here, const get square. It will accept integer, sorry number. Yeah, and it will return the square of the number. Okay. Now instead of using this calling here, we can say get square, and we can pass the input here. Okay. So now what I am doing here, instead of using a unnecessary use effect and the state, I have created a function here, get square, and whenever the input will be changed, this function will be called and it will return the square of the number. So now let's go and see how many times our component is rendering now. So I have 0 and let's enter 1. Great. So now you can see our component is rendered for only one time. Okay, so let's say remove it here and let's say 5, and yeah, again for 5 is 22, 52 again. So now it's rendering for the only one time. So now we have removed the unnecessary use effect and state variable here. For now our component was like quite simple. that's why like it was not of very much problem. But if you are having a quite complex component where you are fetching the data, you are performing some complex calculation, then using unnecessary use effect can slow down your application. So better to avoid using the unnecessary use effect here. Here I have another use case where use of use effect hook might not be required. So let's go to the component here. So I have this component effect hook. Here I am taking the input from the user for the username, and then I'm calling this greet user component to greet the user. And what this create user do? So basically, it takes the username in the props, and then it calculates the initials from the username. So let's quick go to the browser and see how this happening. So let's say I'm entering a name John. So here, as you can see, it's saying showing hello John, and then if I enter a space and hello John Doe, so it's still like since it's taking the initial, so it will render only the first initial from the name. So let's see how many times our component is rendering here. So for that purpose, let's put a console dot count here, render count, and let's save, and let's go back to a browser, and let's clear the console. Okay, so now if I say John, so you can see as soon as I type a character here, so here I have typed 4 characters, and for each characters our component has rendered twice. So let's say if I entered one more character here E, then you can see from 8 it became 10, 9 and 10. So now how we can optimize that? So for this particular purpose, since we are computing our initial from the username here, so we can remove the state and the use effect from here, and instead of that, as per our like to our previous example, what we can say, we can create a function here, get initial, and in the input parameter, we can pass the username, and then we can say return username dot split, and then the first index here, and we can remove it from here, and instead of this initial here we can say get initial, and we can pass directly the props here username. So now if we will switch back to console here, and let's enter a J. So as you can see, as soon as I've entered one character, now our component is rendering only one time. So let's say John. So yeah, now the 4 characters, and it has rendered for only 4 times. So now we have almost reduced by the half the component rendering count. I have this another use case. So here in this situation, I will not be talking about the use of use effect. Here I will be talking about the cleanup function in the use effect. Here, so here what this component does. So basically, it's a kind of querying on the data. So I have this data here, and I have input. So user will be like inputting the string, and based on that data will be filtered. And for filtering the data, we are making the API call. So yeah, we can use the use effect here, but here one problem that sometimes we face is the cleanup function. So let's see what if we do not provide the cleanup function, what is the result. So to build the basics first, so I have created a API here. Basically, it's not a API, but to mock like an API, what I have done here. So I have created a random time here. So basically math.random, and I have multiplied by 10,000, and I am exposing this number like this time to here in the set interval, in this like set interval function here. And in the set interval what I am doing, so I will like get the query string here, the name, and I'm filtering based on the name that I have in my database. And first like I'm converting to lowercase, and then I'm checking if the name is there in this particular database or not. So now this is our mock API that I'm gonna call. So here what yeah, so here in the input, whenever the input changes, the query, this use effect will be triggered and the API call will be made. So let's put a console log here. Just received result for query. So here I have put this console log to check in which order I am getting the response from this API. So let's get back to our console and let me type man. So first, okay. So now as you can see, we have got the response first for the empty string. Then we have got the response for the whole string man, then for ma, then for m. But here you can see the inconsistency. For example, what I expect is the result for man, but the result here is not for man, it's for the m, because the latest result that I've got from the API is for this m string only. So as you can see in this name Wanda maximum, we don't have man substring here in this name string. So this produces inconsistency in our application. So now how we can rectify that? To rectify this, we have to use the cleanup function here. So how we can use that? So first let declare a variable here, let ignore equal to false, and in the response what I will do, I will check if we are ignoring the result or not. And if we are not ignoring the result, then only we will update the state, else we will not update the state. And then we will provide a cleanup function here where I will say return, and we will set ignore to true. So now what will happen, that every time this use effect call will be made, so once the call will be succeeded, the cleanup function will be called and ignore will be set to true. So in that case, this particular if block will be called only for the final string. So let's switch back to browser and let me just clear this here and let's see how we are getting the response. Okay, so as you can see, we have got the response only for the empty string. Let's type man and let's wait. Okay, so now as you can see, we are only getting the response for man. We are not getting the in between responses for string m and for string ma. So now we have rectified this our use effect here. So always take care of that every time you are making any API call or using any async await or any promises in your use effect, always provide a cleaner function. So coming to the conclusion, we don't need use effect to transform any data for the rendering. Also to handle any user event, let's say you want to submit any user data on click of a button or anything, you don't need use effect for that. Also to perform any calculation on the props or any state change or any kind of update, you don't need use effect for that. That's all for today, folks, and thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, performance matters, and optimizing your React code can make a world of difference in user experience. So, the very next time you are about to use the use effect anywhere, just take a moment to reconsider your decision whether it's truly necessary or it's just a simpler way to achieve your goals. So yeah, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more such valuable content. And feel free to leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, happy coding.